Welcome to Cooking with Gerry. Let's go to a short video from a previous breakfast, give you some ideas of what you can prepare for a meal. Here you can see avocado, brown rice, and some nuts. Here's the process. About 1.5 cups of water and 1 tablespoon of coconut oil on a low heat came to a boil, and then 3/4 of a cup of brown rice washed and drained, which cooked for about 15 minutes, and then some pecans, Brazil nuts, almonds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds that were washed and drained, and I cut the nuts into smaller pieces, and those cooked for about 5 minutes. Heat was turned off, cooled for about 10 minutes. Then I added avocado, pink salt, extra virgin olive oil. Very easy to prepare, lots of different possibilities of ingredients you can choose, and that's my breakfast. Okay, so you saw the brown rice dish, lots of different possibilities. I have started this video a second time because something's wrong with the camera. So I have the fire already going. Here I have some ingredients that I'll explain once I get it into the frying pan, because the frying pan is now hot after the first video segment. Here's cauliflower that I have chopped up into very small pieces, and previous was about 15 pistachios, and I'm mixing everything together. I need a little bit more water, and I am going to add about 2 tablespoons of virgin olive oil into the frying pan. And one final mix of the pancake batter. And let me stir around and coat the frying pan, which is now really hot because it's been on for a few minutes on a low heat. And here we go, putting the batter into the hot pan, and it's sizzling. And because it's a fairly thick batter, I need to spread it out with the spatula to evenly coat the bottom of the frying pan. There we go. Let me get what's left on the spatula and from the bowl into the frying pan. One last clean. Okay, so what we have in this pancake batter is 2 eggs, about half a teaspoon of pink salt, about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, about this much water, and that's the wet ingredients. The dry ingredients are, I should say, 4 tablespoons of whole wheat flour and 1 tablespoon each of maca root powder, 7 seeds powder, coca plant powder, and alfalfa powder, giving it that dark green color. And then, as I said, a washed and chopped up cauliflower and some pistachios that I removed the shell and washed. And Now it just needs to cook for probably about 10 minutes because it's fairly thick in the frying pan. So let's come back when it's ready for the flip. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. I just want to show you what it looks like before we flip it to the uncooked side. And I'll show you one way which could be the easiest way to flip a pancake. Here I have a wooden spatula. I am going to cut it into quarters using the wood spatula instead of the rubber spatula because the crust is too thick. The crust on the bottom too thick for the rubber spatula to cut through. Now this pancake being fairly big is a bit difficult to flip. If you have smaller pancakes, it's much easier to flip. So it's in quarters, and I am going to take 1/4 out, put it on a plate, and then I have more space to flip the other pieces. Smells great. And then when I have flipped the other pieces, I'll return this one back, and it has its space. And then flattening the pancake a little bit because the batter was fairly thick. I'd like an even cook on this second side, and then we wait. It should be another few minutes, and that'll give me enough time to explain. This kind of batter, you can cook it in the oven. Make a larger batch and then preheat your oven to about 370 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius. Depending on the quantity, you'd want to cook it, bake it, for about 40 minutes, up to an hour. And towards the end, you can put different kinds of toppings on it. You could make it like a pizza. Or if you make an extra batch, maybe once or twice a month, you want to put 2 hours aside on one day to make yourself a larger batch that you can freeze, giving you the possibility of an easy snack or a meal. Especially if you're pressed for time in the morning and you don't actually have enough time to prepare a breakfast. Pulling it out of the freezer, maybe in the toaster oven if you've cut it before you've frozen it, or if you use a microwave oven, half an hour or a minute to thaw it, or longer if you want it to be hot. Probably healthier than what you're going to find at the other food restaurants, especially most fast food restaurants. So making a bigger batch, and every time it can be different. I'm going to cut it again now. Each quarter will get cut in half, just to even out the distribution of the heat that's coming up from the fire underneath the frying pan. So you can make it different every time. Maybe on that one day that you spend the 2 hours, have 2 different batches. You can have a salty, savory version, and then a sweet version, which can be like a breakfast or even a dessert. More nutritious than the usual toast or bagel, especially if you put jam on top and that store-bought peanut butter, which I now call peanut flavored sugar butter because there's so much sugar. in that peanut butter. If you get the natural, unsweetened peanut butter, it's different. But the normal stuff that most people buy, that peanut butter, it's got lots of sugar and lots of those unhealthy vegetable oils. So this would also be healthier than a cereal, or if you go to your local coffee shop and buy a donut or a muffin or a pastry. Those have a lot of sugar. So it's an option for you. You can, depending on, maybe you have family that you prepare this for, or maybe you want to bring it to a dinner that you've been invited to. Homemade treats like this are enjoyed by most people. Now you can also add sugar to the batter. I don't eat sugar, so I didn't add it, but for sure if you like the sugar, you will decrease the nutritional value, because sugar is not healthy for the body, especially if you're putting that table syrup on top, or whipped cream, or chocolate syrup, or a jam, or ice cream. Really tasty, but just not so healthy. Let me show you what it looks like as it's almost finished. There it is. And what I am going to do, excuse me, the only thing I am going to add to this is half of an avocado. I got these yesterday from one of the local stores. These are local avocados and possibly the tastiest avocados I have ever eaten. So that's going to be my topping. I am turning the heat off. I will drizzle some extra virgin olive oil on top, and there's my meal. Please try something similar, different kinds of flours, powders, vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds. Use your imagination to make it different every time. Thanks for watching.